Welcome to the February 2024 market update. Hope you all are doing amazing. It's been a very, very busy time here in the Valley. We've had Waste Management Open, Barrett-Jackson. We've got Super Bowl coming up, or just passed. I don't know what's happening. I think it's coming up this weekend as I'm filming right now. We've had a ton of rain, which is kind of weird, but we need it, so that's all great stuff. And we've had kind of a crazy month with the real estate market. So one of the things that we talked about last month, if you remember, was the low inventory, but not just that, our pendings kind of being low also because the market had frozen up a little bit. And when I recorded this last month, we really hadn't seen the new year turn over yet and like inventory starting to hit the market. Well, that's all kind of changed. So our inventory has been holding steady. We've been between 15,000, 16,000 active listings at any given time. But what's bananas and what I really wasn't expecting to see this early in the season is we went from 5,000 pending sales this time last month to we have over 8,000 pendings now. A little more inventory is coming on the market than one previously was because we've unlocked essentially more homes for sale. That's allowing us to keep that inventory steady in that 15,000 to 16,000 range, but also have our pendings increase by 3,000. So it's kind of good news for both sides of this. You know, if you're a seller, we haven't seen prices drop because we're just seeing those buyers gobble up that extra inventory. But if you're a buyer, the good news is at least there is that extra inventory coming on. So we're still seeing a little bit of that feeling where our sellers are still wanting really, really high numbers and kind of wishing it was a couple years ago. And our buyers are thinking because interest rates are higher that they should be getting better deals on the houses than they're getting. And so we've had a lot of conversations over the last couple weeks with our buyers, kind of just setting expectations. It's hard as a buyer to kind of wrap your head around why with rates staying so high, prices haven't dropped more. And again, it just always comes back down to that supply and demand thing. You know, I've talked to some commercial guys and people that do development, and they're expecting 100,000 new residents to move to the Valley this year. And so with that kind of demand for housing, it's really hard to see prices dropping. So we've got the Fed meeting coming up next month, and that will be interesting to watch. I think everybody kind of is really thinking that the Fed's going to hold steady on rates. Most of the economic data that's been coming out has been still pretty strong, and I think the Fed is really, really worried that if they start dropping rates, we're going to see inflation start pushing back up. My personal guess is we're going to see the first Fed rate cuts probably mid-year this year and not as early as March, which a lot of people were predicting. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I think, the 10-year Treasury that we've talked about so many times is hanging around. It's hovering just above 4%. And we're seeing with that kind of a steadying of rates by next month, we might have a different story to tell. But what it looks like right now is a really, really strong selling season this spring. It's kind of the perfect storm because rates are still too high to unlock a ton of inventory, especially, those sellers sitting on those 2 3/4, 3% interest rates. They don't want to go to a 6.5, even though it's better than an 8. It's still too much to make them kind of really make a move. I've been seeing a lot of articles lately about people my age and actually a little older staying in their big houses and how it's messing up all the young people that want to move into houses big enough for their families, but us older people are hanging tight and maybe remodeling or doing something because we've got those low interest rates. So it's interesting to watch that stuff kind of play out in real time in the market and see those effects. So I think going into spring, it will be interesting to see if rates drop a little bit, if that does continue to loosen up a little bit more inventory. But right now, that drop from 8 to call it mid 6s has brought a lot of buyers back into our market, and they're looking to buy. And so any little bit of inventory that is coming out extra is just getting sucked right up. Again, really excited / interested to see when I'm filming this next month exactly where we're at. Hopefully the Fed, by the time I'm doing this, will have met, and I'll have something to report on that. And we'll see how it all turns out. In the meantime, if you have any questions, we always talk about this. Real estate's always local. So even in our submarkets here, we're seeing variance of how fast things are selling and the demand for them. So if you have any questions about that, any questions about moving here, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to talk to you. Until next time, hope you guys have a great day. See you soon.